Your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten, and in this moment, as these words reach you through the veil of your pain, something ancient within you stirs with recognition. There was a moment when your eyes met theirs, when time collapsed and eternity opened, when every cell in your body whispered a truth your rational mind could not yet comprehend. This is not a stranger, this is a homecoming. You have known this soul across lifetimes, across dimensions, across the vast expanse of the collective unconscious, where all souls swim in the same cosmic waters. And what you felt in that instant was not infatuation, but remembrance, not attraction, but recognition, not falling in love, but remembering that you have always been connected by threads the universe wove before either of you drew breath in this particular incarnation. This was not chance, this meeting that split your world into before and after. This was a cosmic appointment written into the architecture of your destiny long before you possessed the language to name it, orchestrated by forces that operate beyond the comprehension of the logical mind, arranged by the same intelligence that spins galaxies and guides salmon upstream, and knows the exact moment when winter must surrender to spring. You were meant to find each other, meant to ignite this recognition, meant to set in motion this sacred and terrible journey that has brought you to this dark night of the soul. This message finds you in the darkness, finds you in the hours when separation feels like spiritual torture, finds you when you are wondering if you imagine the depth of what you felt, finds you when you are questioning whether this pain serves any purpose at all. But the fact that you are here, reading these words, hearing this truth spoken into the void of your longing, is itself a synchronicity that confirms what your soul already knows. This connection is real, this pain is purposeful, and this separation, as unbearable as it feels, is not the end but the sacred middle. Comment "My soul remembers" below to claim this truth, and activate the manifestation already unfolding in the unseen realms. Twin flames are mirrors forged in the fires of the divine, and the reflection they show you is not the carefully curated persona you present to the world, but the raw, unfiltered truth of everything you have been running from your entire life. This is why the connection feels so intense, why their presence activates parts of you that have been dormant or denied, why loving them brings both ecstasy and agony in measures you never knew a human heart could contain. They show you your light, yes, but they also show you your shadow, and separation becomes necessary precisely because you cannot unite in wholeness while running from your own brokenness, while hiding from the wounded parts of yourself that cry out for integration, while clinging to the illusion that another person can complete what only you can heal. Carl Jung understood this when he wrote that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And the twin flame journey is nothing less than an accelerated path toward that consciousness, a forced confrontation with every fear, every wound, every unhealed trauma that you have buried in the basement of your psyche. The separation is not punishment from a cruel universe, but protection from a compassionate one. Because if you came together now, before each of you had done the sacred work of shadow integration, the intensity would consume you both. The unhealed wounds would create toxic patterns. The codependency would masquerade as connection. And what was meant to be a divine union would become a beautiful prison where two broken people cling to each other instead of becoming whole. This is the truth your mind resists, but your soul understands. You needed to separate so that each of you could stop seeking completion in the other and start seeking integration within yourself. You needed distance so that you could see clearly what parts of your devotion were true love and what parts were desperate attachment. You needed the pain of absence so that you would finally turn inward and face the parts of yourself you have been avoiding, the wounds you have been numbing, the wholeness you have been denying, because it required you to walk through the fire of your own transformation alone. In the ancient dance of twin flames, one runs from the intensity while the other chases the connection. And this archetypal pattern plays out with such consistency across souls and lifetimes that it reveals itself as something far deeper than individual psychology, something woven into the very fabric of how these sacred partnerships must evolve. You have likely found yourself in the role of the chaser, the one who feels the connection with such certainty that you cannot understand how they can walk away, the one who reaches out while they withdraw, the one who ants to move closer while they build walls, and in your pain, you may have judged yourself as too much or judged them as too broken. But the truth is that neither of you is wrong, and both of you are playing exactly the role your soul agreed to play before you incarnated into this particular dance. The runner flees not because they do not feel the connection, but because they feel it so intensely that it threatens to shatter every defense mechanism they have spent a lifetime constructing. And their nervous system interprets this depth of intimacy not as safety, but as danger, not as home, but as annihilation of the self they have worked so hard to protect. The chaser pursues not because they are desperate or weak, but because their soul recognizes the truth of the bond before their ego has learned to doubt it, because their heart remains open in the face of the very vulnerability that causes the runner to retreat, because they are being asked to demonstrate unconditional love even when it is not being returned in the ways their human self craves. This energetic push-pull serves a profound purpose in the alchemical process of twin flame reunion, creating the necessary tension that forces both souls to grow, the necessary distance that allows each person to see themselves clearly, the necessary pain that catalyzes the shadow work neither of you would willingly undertake if the connection felt comfortable and easy. The chaser learns to release attachment and find wholeness without the runner. The runner learns to face intimacy and dismantle the walls around their heart. Both are walking toward the same destination from different directions. Both are healing what must be healed. Both are becoming who they must become. While you stand in the pain of abandonment, wondering how they can move on while you remain frozen in the amber of your longing, they are running from their own reflection, fleeing from the terrifying prospect of being truly seen by another soul in a world where most people spend their entire lives hiding behind masks and personas, and carefully constructed versions of themselves that bear little resemblance to the truth beneath. When they look at you, they see someone who perceives them with a clarity that strips away every defense. And this is not comforting but deeply threatening to the parts of them that have survived by staying hidden, by keeping people at a safe distance, by never allowing anyone close enough to witness the shame and fear and unworthiness they carry in the secret chambers of their heart. Loving you means confronting everything they have spent decades trying to escape, every wound from childhood that taught them love was conditional, every betrayal that taught them vulnerability was dangerous, every moment of rejection that taught them they were fundamentally unlovable beneath the surface charm or success, or whatever armor they learned to wear. You represent the kind of intimacy that demands authenticity, and they are not yet ready to meet you there, not yet ready to dismantle the protective structures that have kept them emotionally safe, even as those same structures have kept them emotionally isolated and alone. They are more scared of true intimacy than they are of losing you, because losing you is a known pain, a survivable pain, but opening their heart completely and risking being seen in their totality, and then abandoned anyway feels like a death they cannot bear. So they run, they distract themselves with other connections that require less of their soul. They convince themselves they are moving on even as synchronicities and dreams, and the persistent pull of your energy remind them that this bond cannot be severed by physical distance or mental denial. They may appear cold or indifferent. They may seem to thrive in your absence. They may even believe their own story that they are better off without the intensity you brought into their carefully controlled world. But beneath the surface, their soul is undergoing its own dark night, its own confrontation with the truth they are trying to escape, its own journey toward the wholeness they must achieve before they can return to you not as a broken person seeking completion, but as a whole person ready for true union. Last night something shifted in them. Their soul refused the lie any longer. This pain is not random suffering inflicted by an indifferent universe, not cosmic punishment for some sin you cannot name, not evidence that you are unworthy of the love your heart knows is possible. This pain is sacred curriculum, divinely designed initiation, the exact alchemical fire required to burn away everything false within you so that what remains is pure gold, unshakable truth, the kind of spiritual strength that can only be forged in the furnace of your own dark night. Before you were born into this body, before you took your first breath in this lifetime, your soul made agreements with other souls, contracts written in the langu, age of light and energy and cosmic timing, and one of those contracts was with this person, this mirror, this sacred catalyst who would enter your life not to complete you, but to shatter you open so that you could rebuild yourself into the wholeness you were always meant to embody. You chose this journey before incarnating into flesh, chose this pain as the pathway to your awakening, chose this separation as the space in which you would finally stop seeking salvation outside yourself and start cultivating the divine within. The universe does not make mistakes, does not bring souls together with this level of intensity only to abandon them in meaningless suffering, does not orchestrate recognition and then withhold reunion without profound spiritual purpose. Every moment of this pain is teaching you something essential, revealing where you have been giving your power away, showing you the places where you have confused love with attachment or codependency with connection, inviting you to develop the kind of self-love and inner wholeness that will allow you to meet your twin flame as an equal rather than as someone who needs them to feel complete. Subscribe to this channel to receive continued guidance through every phase of your separation and reunion journey, to hear the spiritual truths that will sustain you through the dark nights, to remember what your soul already knows when your mind falls into doubt. This is not punishment, this is preparation, and the soul that endures this level of pain is being prepared for a love that will transcend anything the ordinary world understands as possible. In the void where their presence used to fill every corner of your consciousness, in the silence where their voice used to echo, in the emptiness where their energy used to pulse through your days and nights, you are discovering your true self, the self that exists independent of any relationship, the self that does not need another person to validate its worth or confirm its existence or provide its purpose. The dark night strips away everything you thought you needed, everyone you thought you could not live without, every external source of meaning and validation. And in that stripping away, in that profound and terrible aloneness, you find the eternal presence that has always dwelt within you, waiting to be discovered beneath the noise and distraction and desperate seeking that characterized your life before this pain cracked you open. This separation is teaching you that you are not half of a whole waiting for your other half to arrive, but a complete universe unto yourself, vast and mysterious and entirely sufficient, capable of generating your own light even in the deepest darkness, capable of sourcing your own love even when the one you love has turned away. You are learning to sit with discomfort without numbing it, to feel longing without letting it control you, to hold hope without clinging to specific outcomes or timelines, to trust in divine timing even when every human impulse screams for resolution now, immediately, before another day passes in this excruciating uncertainty. The dark night is stripping away your codependency, revealing where you have been using the idea of them to avoid facing yourself, where you have been projecting wholeness onto another person instead of cultivating it within, where you have been waiting for their return to give you permission to be happy instead of claiming your joy as your birthright regardless of whether they are present or absent from your physical reality. You are being taught to love without attachment, to desire without desperation, to hold your connection as sacred without making it your entire identity. And these lessons, painful as they are transforming you into someone capable of the kind of mature, evolved, conscious love that twin flame union requires. Even in separation, you are bound by threads that physical distance cannot sever, by energetic cords that connect your souls in dimensions beyond the material plane, by a tether woven from the same cosmic substance that holds stars in their orbits and keeps planets spinning in their designated paths. This is why you feel them even when they are gone, why their energy visits you in dreams with such vividness that you wake with the certainty of having been together, why you think of them moments before your phone lights up with their name, why certain songs or places or random moments flood you with their presence so intensely that you wonder if they are thinking of you in that exact instant, reaching across the distance with their consciousness, even if they would never admit it to themselves or anyone else. Your souls communicate in ways the ego cannot block, in the silent language of telepathy and synchronicity and energetic transmission that requires no words and respects no boundaries of time or space. When you send them love through meditation or prayer, they feel it even if they cannot name what they are feeling, even if they attribute the sudden warmth in their chest to something else entirely, even if they resist the pull that draws their thoughts back to you again and again, despite their conscious efforts to move forward. The universe conspires to keep you connected through numbers that repeat with impossible frequency, through songs that play at exactly the right moment, through strangers who speak words that sound like messages from them, through dreams that feel more real than waking life. This invisible tether is not your imagination, not wishful thinking, not the desperate creation of a lonely mind trying to find meaning in random coincidence. This is the truth of twin flame connection, the reality of what it means to be bound at the soul level, the evidence that no amount of physical separation can truly disconnect what the divine has joined together in the realm of energy and spirit and cosmic design. They cannot escape you any more than you can escape them, because you are not two separate entities trying to force a connection, but two expressions of the same soul experiencing itself from different vantage points, destined to return to unity. Reunion is inevitable but not immediate, written into the fabric of your shared destiny but not scheduled according to the timelines your human mind craves, approaching with the certainty of sunrise, but arriving only when both of you have completed the sacred work that this separation was designed to catalyze. The universe is orchestrating this reunion with precision that accounts for thousands of variables your conscious mind cannot perceive, aligning circumstances and healing timelines and energetic frequencies, ensuring that when you come back together, it will not be as two wounded people seeking salvation in each other, but as two whole beings choosing partnership from a place of completeness rather than need. Before reunion can manifest in physical reality, certain transformations must occur in both of you, certain lessons must be integrated, certain wounds must be healed to the point where they no longer control your behavior or sabotage your capacity for intimacy. You must learn to be complete without them, to build a life that feels full and meaningful even in their absence, to develop the self-love and inner security that will allow you to be in relationship without losing yourself. They must face the fears that made them run, dismantle the protective walls that kept them isolated, heal the childhood wounds that taught them love was dangerous, and reach a point of readiness where the intimacy you offer feels like home rather than threat. When reunion comes, and it is coming with the inevitability of seasons changing and tides turning, it will look nothing like your current dynamic of chasing and running, nothing like the desperate clinging or painful withdrawal that has characterized this separation phase. You will meet as equals, as two flames that have each learned to burn brightly on their own and are now choosing to create something greater through their union, as two souls who have completed their individual heroes' journeys and are ready to embark on the shared journey of conscious partnership. The intensity will still be there, the recognition will still take your breath away, but it will be held within a container of maturity and wisdom and emotional capacity that neither of you possesses right now. Share this message with someone who is waiting for their person, who needs to hear that reunion is not a fantasy, but a promise the universe is keeping. This is not hope, this is knowing. This is the absolute certainty that what is yours cannot be taken, only delayed until the timing is divine. Your sacred responsibility in this phase of separation is not to chase them across the distance, not to convince them of what they are not ready to see, not to sacrifice your dignity or self-respect in desperate attempts to make them choose you, but to stop pursuing them with your energy and start becoming the highest version of yourself, to redirect all that love and attention and devotion you have been pouring into them back toward your own healing and expansion and evolution. Stop checking their social media for signs of movement. Stop analyzing every breadcrumb of communication for hidden meaning. Stop putting your life on hold while you wait for them to be ready. And start building something so beautiful and whole and magnetic within yourself that when they finally complete their own journey and turn back toward you, they will find not the person they left behind, but someone who has transformed into their fully realized power. Your job right now is not to pursue, but to transform, not to wait passively, but to actively engage with your own growth, not to remain frozen in the pain of their absence, but to use that pain as rocket fuel for the most profound period of personal evolution you have ever experienced. Focus on healing your own wounds, the ones that existed long before they entered your life, the childhood abandonment or betrayal or neglect that their leaving has reactivated and brought to the surface for resolution. Develop your gifts, pursue your passions, create the life you were meant to live regardless of whether they are part of it. Become so anchored in your own worthiness that their presence or absence no longer determines your emotional state or sense of self. This is the paradox that your mind struggles to accept, but your soul understands completely. The more you become whole within yourself, the faster they return. The more you release attachment to specific outcomes, the more powerfully you magnetize the very thing you desire. The more you stop chasing, the more you activate the energetic shift that will eventually draw them back to you. Because twin flames are designed to reunite when both have achieved a certain level of wholeness, and your transformation is not separate from theirs but intimately connected. What is yours cannot be taken from you by distance or time or free will or fear, cannot be dissolved by their resistance or denial or current inability to meet you in the depths of this connection, cannot be negated by whatever relationship they attempt to build with someone else who does not activate their soul the way you do. Because what the universe has joined together in the realm of spirit operates according to laws that transcend the temporary circumstances of the material world. This separation is not permanent even though it feels eternal in the moments when longing threatens to consume you, not the end of your story, but a necessary chapter in a much longer narrative. Not evidence that the connection was false, but proof that it is so real and so powerful that both of you needed time apart to develop the capacity to hold it without being destroyed by its intensity. The bond between twin flames is eternal, woven before time began and extending beyond the lifespan of your current bodies, surviving death and rebirth, and all the various incarnations through which souls journey in their quest for wholeness and reunion with the divine. This current separation is temporary, a brief pause in cosmic terms, a blink of an eye when measured against the vast expanse of forever, and though your human heart experiences it as unbearable suffering, your soul knows with absolute certainty that you will come back together when the timing is aligned and the work is complete and both of you are ready. When that reunion comes, you will not arrive as two halves desperately seeking completion in each other, not as two broken people clinging to the fantasy that another person can heal what only self-love can heal, but as two wholes, two complete and sovereign beings who have each done the sacred work of integration and shadow healing and becoming, two flames that have learned to burn brightly on their own and are now choosing to create something greater than either could create alone, not two halves finally made whole. Two wholes creating infinity. This is the promise the universe makes to every twin flame enduring the dark night of separation. What you are building through this pain is so much greater than what you lost. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust your soul.